Right, lads, the season starts this weekend. We need something big and bold. Ten Hag. No, I mean as in like a big thing. And lads, I have got the best plan. Helicopter. All right, boys, I've got the ball for kickoff. I am throwing it down there. Jesus Christ, man. Was this really necessary? Ah, beautiful. Job is done. The season can get underway. They got themselves a football now. And for fuck's sake, man. Wait, what the? Oh, someone's kicked it over the fence already. We've got to go get a new ball again. Helicopter. Yo guys, it is your boy No Knee Earnin here, and you are watching FTW. This of course the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, Kendrick Lamar has been confirmed as performing for the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show. It sees history made and gives him a chance to call Drake a nonce to 300 million people. Drake himself will be devastated tuning in, seeing OV-Ho written on the official NFL match ball.
Baka got a weird case, why is he around? Certified lover boy?
Drake allegedly turned this opportunity down multiple times. There's no team in the NFL called the Predators, so it didn't really match his brand. So things will get a little bit intense when We Cry Together is on the set list.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you! Weird fuck you!
Now there's 2 reasons to be clinically depressed this week. Summer is over, which means an immediate return to 6-degree temperatures and heating bills that look like a Todd Bowley receipt.
Why is it already cold and nothing ain't even happened yet?
And also the international break. But that didn't stop football going absolutely fucking nuts in the meantime.
What is this, dealer? Taking a piss.
First of all, England faced off against Ireland in the Nations League and beat their better accented cousins 2-0 in Lee Carsley's debut as manager. Now obviously there was tension beforehand, given Declan Rice and Jack Grealish used to represent Ireland, yet now they both play for the Three Lions. They were there in disguise for their game, it's fair to say. To my Irish viewers here, don't even be too upset, lads. They've won the same amount of trophies for us as they would have done for you lot. And in the crowd, banners were out calling both of them snakes. I sure hope that doesn't come back to haunt anybody. Now a pitch invader managed to get onto the field during the lineups and photos before kickoff, wearing a number inspired by Kyle Walker's activities last night and with more of a chance of finishing 90 minutes than Luke Shaw. So I say personally, give him the caller. Into the match, and after early Ireland pressure, England struck first through Declan Rice, of course.
This was the banker.
Followed swiftly by Jack Grealish. Of course.
This was one that's never failed.
Absolutely, definitely not funny, this eventuality, not at all. But Declan Rice, he held up his hands, you know, almost as an apology for scoring against his former side, I guess. Like, doing this on international duty is absolutely crazy. Like he signed for England on an undisclosed fee. In Ireland's backline, and Seamus Coleman was depressed. How this guy is still going, I don't know. The Barclays men trend took over Twitter. Do it with this guy and the compilation music's Mozart. Meanwhile, for Ireland supporters, and they were even more depressed in the stands once Jack Grealish had got himself on the score sheet. And unlike Declan, he was willing to do the Adebayor if necessary.
Very interesting!
This, of course, was Lee Carsley's first game in charge, and I've already come to the conclusion that he's the greatest of all time. We actually attacked after going 1-0 up, lads. However, he refuses to sing the national anthem, which makes it even better. I mean, look, like, guys, the guy's Irish, okay? Like, no one got at Fabio Capello for not singing it as an Italian. For me, he might as well go all out, get the Irish tunes out instead.
From Banshee Bay under there in Cape.
He had a very firm response when asked to stand and sing God Save the King.
I'm not moving from this seat, I can assure you.
And like all good managers on top of that, he's bald. Okay, maybe not all. And England did also beat Finland, but I can't lie, there wasn't enough that happened and I simply don't care enough, no offense. We'll come back to Europe in a second, but today, much like Elon Musk when he's disagreed with by anybody, I'm attacking Brazil, who lost 1-0 to Paraguay in World Cup qualifying. These lot are quite literally mid-table in South American qualifying, whilst playing against largely individuals with gambling addictions and crippling anger management issues, whereas Brazil just have management issues. The ratings of their front three, to say the actual quality here, is absolutely diabolical. These are the 3 horsemen of the apocalypse. If the apocalypse was happening in Brazil. All orange ratings. You're doing too much. They're begging to be from the Netherlands. Hendrik probably had Johan Cruyff posters on his wall back in 1988. And speaking of Hendrik, he was getting chanted at by supporters, calling him Bobby Charlton from the stands. The way he's playing, though, more like Charlton Athletic, I'll be honest. My biggest respect to Paraguay after the loss, honestly, I always loved Roque Santa Cruz Senior. He was Paraguay's centre mid of the year in 1958. Vinny Jr., by the way, was not producing any better, with a failed rainbow flick that genuinely makes me question whether he's from Brazil at all. This guy's got an Angolan passport and 2-star skill moves. He's distracted down by the corner flag when his country need him most.
Vamos pular a parte que eu peço aquele vinho do bom.
And his stats for his country genuinely are pretty disappointing. He really needs to step it up. Undoubtedly quality for his club, but has gone missing for Brazil many a time. Lucas Moura came off the bench in this game. In 2024. They're playing a midfielder who's signed for Wolverhampton Wanderers at the moment. Rodrigo will be left depressed on socials when Andre invites him to the Molineux for the first time. Imagine being Ronaldinho, switching on your TV after the Brazilian glory days, and now you see Andreas Pereira on the screen. Meanwhile, Pitch Invaders were clearly flavour of the month in South America too, as this one came from far to show his gratitude to his favourite Paraguayan defender. Now, Argentina have had a mixed week. They faced off against Chile and were victorious, and showed off the Copa America trophy they won over the summer to their supporters. Emi Martinez couldn't control himself and just had to recreate that moment from the World Cup. However, as soon as things started to go wrong, Emi proved he quite literally can't handle the heat in the kitchen, as he smacked a cameraman away from him after a loss to Colombia later in the week. That cameraman will have gone flying with the force that slap came across. He smacked the SD card right out of there. Colombian fans were booing the Argentine national anthem before kickoff, which to be honest seems a little bit over the top. I don't think they needed to do that just because they lost in the Copa America final. However, Colombia got the better of their opponents here. James Rodriguez's performance was sensational, returning to the top stage after years away from it. Colombia's very own undercover operative. The name's James Rodriguez. It's still shit, brother. It still doesn't work, like, as a catchphrase. Back across the Atlantic, though, now, mostly because who we're talking about can't actually go over there, and Cristiano Ronaldo is making history. He scored his 900th goal of his career against Croatia here, and scored his 901st against Scotland. Seeing him break down into tears and get extremely emotional, it was great to see. Though I think it's going to get a little bit old if he starts crying every time he scores from here on in. And that's a final nail in the coffin for Al Okhabab, as Ronaldo makes it 7-0 here in the car. You don't need to start crying, but he's now only 100 from Pele. Although it depends who you talk to, because the amount of goals captured of the Brazilian scoring by actual technology can be counted on a Norwich resident's right hand. He'll be coming back from the dead to ensure half the footage of Ronaldo's goals are lost now. He clutched up versus Scotland in the Nations League to win it for them in the 88th minute, and the goal scorers really made it a United derby here. Scott McTominay was his usual self away on international duty. Meanwhile, there was yet another pitch invader, this time to go and see Ron, with a steward giving his all. I can guarantee you, boss, you are not paid enough for this. It is such a mad achievement, though, for Ronaldo. He'll still be playing when he's 88, I can tell you that for fact. And he'll still be on YouTube, too, given the way his channel's performing. He's now amongst the greats in terms of golden trophies, with his You Are Cristiano channel now at 60 million subscribers. That's 59.9 million viewers more than Ligue 1 this season. For Norway, and they were victorious, but at what cost? With Martin Ødegaard picking up an injury that may well see him out for time for the Gunners. Arsenal fans are losing it over like 3 injuries for the first time in about 3 years. You should have been a Liverpool fan. We were in the trenches. To be fair to them, though, they are running out of centre mids here. Mikel Arteta's one more sprained ankle away from stripping off and having to come on. Gunnosaurus is gonna be in the lineup for the North London derby. Ødegaard injured, Rice suspended, Partey arrested. Zinchenko's gonna find out he's gonna have to go back to centre mid here. Poor Ethan Nwaneri is getting a baptism of fire starting against Tottenham. It was a titanic clash between the Netherlands and Germany, which ended in an entertaining 2-2 draw, though Matthijs de Ligt was getting grilled for his mistakes online. He's been at United for a month, and he's already caught Maguire syndrome. Virgil van Dijk was in fairness asleep at the back post for Germany's second goal, and they managed to find the energy to wake up and get aggressive at de Ligt, even though it was his own fault. But the first goal was absolutely the United centre-back's fault. Ronald Koeman was left fuming with his players, even closed the door on an international career for Steven Bergwijn for him. Hopefully he closes the door on himself being a good manager. Meanwhile, at Belgium, and it's all kicking off there too, as Kevin De Bruyne has said that he's sick of basically the rest of his teammates there. He's had beef with Jan Vertonghen for about 8 years, for fuck's sake. Jan's about 47, by the way. He's like that kid who's been redoing uni for 7 years. Just give it up, mate. Belgium training sessions must be all-out war these days. Swapping the pitch for the screen, though, now, and CBS presenter Kate Abdo is now officially married. There, Thierry. It's gonna be okay. The The Frenchman's gonna have to cool himself down in his living room when he sees this news for the first time. Left catastrophically depressed when he turns up for the wedding. I just know bro's in the trenches, man. I'm sorry, Thierry. We've all been there. But life will be difficult going back to the family now after finding out his work wife is married to somebody else.
Daddy!
Sit down. Get in the back seat. Get back there. Come on, man.
Hey, baby.
Come on, pull up. Let's go.
Mika Richards and Carragher had to be gentle when breaking the news. He fell to his knees, let's be honest with you, as soon as he heard it. He's even left France's under-21s post. The guy heard the news and said, I have to take time for myself. He's abdicated from the job, if you will. Let's be honest, we all know what he's doing to that CBS Sports contract when he gets back for the first Champions League game of the season. Another man tearing up his footballing deal, though, is Romeo Beckham, who's officially retired as a baller. Guys, I brought you here today to tell you something important. My time has come. Alas, I must go. I've loved my time here. I love playing football, but most importantly, I've loved you all. I've seen you all as brothers, but unfortunately, I must retire. Broski, I don't even know who the fuck you are. Yeah, nah, the football career is done, brother. He barely even got started for the 22-year-old. He's tried to follow in his dad's footsteps here, but realised he's only a size 6. Bending it like Beckham has looked significantly different in this situation. He's just given up on football to be a model, to be fair. And I mean, look, listen, I wish we could all do that. It's time for Mikhailo Mudryk to do the same. Now, to be fair, look, Romeo Beckham, he's a Nepo baby. It can't particularly be helped. But I guess that's the end of his 21 seconds of fame, footballing-wise.
Romeo done.
Enzo Fernandez has been given a driving ban for an offence earlier this year where he was caught speeding. The list of offences of this man are starting to get a little bit out of control since the Copa America win. He just wanted 3 points at some stage in his career, even if it's on his licence. I fear his next drive into training will be reckless to say the least. And next time Anthony Taylor gives something against Chelsea, he better contend with Enzo driving at him from the subs bench. Marcos Alonso will be devastated seeing his driving offences record broken at the club. Meanwhile, Enzo, Cole and Madueke will now be arguing over penalties. Road penalties. It's okay, guys, don't worry. Like, I swear there's no problems here. My car's black. Douglas Costa has an OnlyFans. Yeah, look, listen, I didn't really know how to break that news either. Filthy, filthy content over there. It's just going to be his skill moves from his career. When Jack Grealish realises that this is a viable career path after football, it's over for him. Years of nutmegs for the Brazilian have led to this very moment as he puts things between legs again with dribbling of a very different kind. The title of his most recent content, In Behind a Spanish Model, but it's just him rinsing Hector Bellerin again. So I feel like people will be very suspicious when they see him walk into training next dressed as a plumber.
What the fucking hell's happening?
Over at Borussia Dortmund, and there were wholesome scenes as Jakub Błaszczykowski and Lukas Piszczek held a joint testimonial. The two Poles were such figures in all of our childhood. This was like a FIFA 14 reunion. Błaszczykowski, fuck knows how to spell his name still. Piszczek, Mkhitaryan, Moritz Leitner, Felipe Santana, Adrian Ramos. There would have been quite as good a reception when Robert Lewandowski turned up for the game.
Yeah, you've gone over there and you won a few trophies. But what your legacy is going to be is that you are a Judas.
Meanwhile, Jurgen Klopp was officially one of the managers. He came out of retirement here to do this for the testimonial, and his tactics board, well, it was a little bit less serious than it probably was at Liverpool. Though Błaszczykowski will have him stressed when the injury-prone Polish winger goes down for the 4th time in the game holding his groin.
What can I say to them? Running out of energy.
And he also did give us this incredible scene of Dortmund players going up against some lucky young fans. Now back on international duty, and there were crazy scenes between two of football's European minnows. Last week, I told you about San Marino beating Liechtenstein to gain their first win in 20 years. They're in a Nations League group with Gibraltar and Liechtenstein, who faced off against each other, and a draw between the two means San Marino stay top of the Nations League group, which is incredible to look at. The end of this game was wild. Gibraltar missed a penalty, then they scored only for VAR to rule it out. Liechtenstein then went up the other end only for another VAR rule out. Gibraltar then took the lead deep into injury time thinking they'd won it, only for Liechtenstein to earn themselves a pen in the 10th minute of injury time, Gibraltar to get a substitute sent off, and Liechtenstein to grab themselves an equaliser and end the game 2-2. Not only that, but Liam Walker of Gibraltar scored a goal directly from a corner in this one. Hectic scenes, but all of that sees a San Marinese individual sat top of a table for something other than dinner. Yeah, you lot are shit, mate. It was testimonial season as Manchester United faced off against Celtics legends, and Wayne Rooney scored a free kick in this one. It was absolutely delightful. He still got it. I think he genuinely starts for United, you know. He's better than Anthony, and his cholesterol levels are up at key stage 3. Michael Olise was called up for the French national team for the first time, other than for the under-23s at the Olympics, and he was seen rapping for his initiation.
I got out of mud cause I had a ball to get a new Patek on my wrist. I made the package do back lips to get a new tennis on my bitch. Got a new automatic that's on my head. Niggas talk about the back, but don't.
A quick 16 for Miike Olise and an overall rating on FIFA of 16 for Ousmane Dembele, based on his performance after he came off the bench. Wales faced off against Turkey and it led to a painful moment for Kiefer Moore, who got stepped on by Chila Soyuncu. Obviously accidental, but studs to the face, never nice. I say accidental, but Soyuncu had been very aggressive before kick-off.
Now my patience has reached its end.
Swedish winger Hugo Larsson was forced to leave the Swedish camp on international duty thanks to injury, but Sweden's message over on Twitter wasn't too empathetic, saying fuck you to him as he left. Maybe an issue with the translation. That's just what Belgium do anyway when everyone gets home. Croatia had an interesting formation to use this week, which saw them using a 3-3-3-1, otherwise known as the dial pad formation.
And then he links up to a 4-pronged triangle.
Croatia's manager was cooking a little bit too much for this one. I tweeted about it because I'd not seen this on in this format before, and I was told that Marcelo Bielsa had been doing it for years.
Of course you want to see him in that enganche role because of the way he uses La Pausa and hits the half spaces in his double pivot. Now he struggled against a low block, but if we used him as more of a trequartista...
This international break marked a beautiful day for Bosnian youngster Esmir Bayraktarevic, who was once a superfan of Edin Dzeko as pictured here as a kid in a Dzeko shirt. He managed to grab himself an assist for Edin in a 5-2 loss to the Netherlands. A beautiful personal moment for the 19-year-old, though not as good of a personal moment for this Latvia defender against Armenia, scoring an absolute horror story of an own goal. Over in Asian qualifying, and Japan beat China 7-0 this week, an absolute battering. Things China are good at: food, making, everything. Signing Solomon Rondon on £4.7 billion a week. But football, no. This could start another Asian war, you know, a result like this. 1 billion people to ship 7 to your local rivals is crazy. Back in South America, and Bolivia are on a great run of form to say, well, kind of who they are, really. They're not really expected to qualify for World Cups, but a win away from home for the first time in many years sees them actually into a playoff spot now. Shout out them. Someone else enjoying life right now is Steve McLaren over in the Sun of Jamaica. It's already starting to have an effect on the former United assistant.
All right, coach. Big up.
Big up.
Big up. Big up.
Big up.
Yeah, man.
Well, you said something else this morning.
Okay. Seal it up.
Seal it up.
Seal it up.
Seal it up.
Yeah,
that's what it said.
Seal it up. Yeah. Sorry, box myself.
I know.
My fault.
Look me in the eye. Seal it up.
Respect.
And speaking of United, a group of Ugandan Manchester United supporters travelled to a game that they were not even involved in, but that did feature Andre Onana for Cameroon, just to go and cheer him on. They probably weren't too pleased to see what he did when a penalty was given to the opponents.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, we saw San Marino win their first game in 20 years. How about Anguilla over in CONCACAF winning their first game ever? The tiny Caribbean nation won for the first time this week, a 2-0 victory. Brilliant stuff for them, a truly sensational moment. Now over in the United Arab Emirates, and a ridiculous situation is developing. Quincy Promes was once a footballer with a lot of promise. A Dutch winger who was known for his outrageous pace, shot power and sensational dribbling ability, but has never really been able to stay on the right side of the law. He was involved in the stabbing of a family member, drug trafficking and other things. He's since cut ties with Spartak Moscow, who he used to play for in Russia, fled to the UAE to avoid being extradited back to the Netherlands, has been arrested and is now playing for Dubai United in the second tier. What the fuck is going on, bruv? Memphis Depay will be quick to defend this man again, probably. Quoted, he was also friends with Mason Greenwood and Benjamin Mendy, and they turned out absolutely fine. He's brought the whole family name into disrepute, and next time he pulls up into the drive for the next barbecue, it's gonna be him on the end of the stabbing. Now though it's time for your goals of the week, we got some more bangers for you. First of all, starting on international duty with Wales, and Harry Wilson, who is known for his long-range bangers, adds another one to the collection. Harry, also known for scoring a lot of free kicks in his time, will he be proud of this one from Shunki Higashi over in Japan, who scored one from an outrageous angle, looping it over the keeper. But the final goal of the week is extraordinary. A bit of skill, a bit of luck maybe, but a beautiful Van Basten-esque finish from Glentoran's Jordan Jenkins. Back in the Premier League though now, and Luton Town have announced another signing. It's Victor Moses.
You're alive.
These lot took Barclays men a little bit too seriously. Didn't actually have to go and fucking sign one. Victor Moses, where has this guy even been? And getting him for free, someone that's parted the seas back in the day. In this economy, truly great work from them. Kylian Mbappe was filmed in a So Rare advert this week, and you get the absolute most ridiculous collaboration ever thanks to it.
Did you really lose, mate?
Defeat? Nah, not my cup of tea.
Theo Baker and Mbappe in the same show. What are we doing here? Kylian will have been left confused when he saw Theo and the pitchside crew appear on the call sheet. Juan Bata had a unique way to wish Bruno Fernandes a happy birthday over on Instagram. Meanwhile, there's the incredible news story of Ernest Nuama, a Lyon player who was supposed to sign for Premier League outfit Fulham. Talks broke down and the transfer didn't end up happening on deadline day because Ernest himself broke down into floods of tears during his Fulham medical. He then went AWOL, went completely missing and fled the scene to the point where even his agent had no idea where he was. And to be honest, I'd break down too if I had to interact with people from the Fulham area. Over in Spain, and Barcelona have released the most expensive kit ever, with the price for it literally breaking records, coming in at installments that add up to 60 million euros to cover the Dani Olmo deal. These lot will be working out how fans can register players for them at this rate. There's the heartbreaking story of Stockport coach Andy Mangan, who was set for a surprise, dream move, I imagine, to Real Madrid to work under Carlo Ancelotti, but unfortunately it's broken down because he hasn't been given a work permit. Yeah, there's your Brexit perks for you lads. Can't help but feel he won't take any prisoners when he next sees Nigel Farage on that one. Meanwhile, Julian Nagelsmann scored past Marc-Andre ter Stegen in Barcelona training. I mean, everyone else can, so it makes sense really, doesn't it? If a manager has you losing a clean sheet, it's time for you to give up the ghost, mate. Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
He will go right to the very bottom.
And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Now down in the 6th tier of Italian football, and one manager is taking matters into his own hands. A ball has been launched forward and a serious counter-attacking opportunity is there, only for the opponent's boss to run onto the field and just absolutely clamp him. Not being out the technical area, he's almost in the penalty area. I firmly believe a manager should be able to do this once a game. And it's into Nicholas Jackson. It's not been a great week for Tom Derry here, who was ready to take a penalty, except the goalkeeper is about to try and slot it past, and his teammate's defender fancied trying to get in his head. They did that by playing piggy in the middle with him. Some great control here, I've got to say. Lovely little lift over him. He didn't take it well, leading to more and extravagant clamping. And yet another sending off. Guys, what the fuck was going on in football this week? Bolton Wanderers' Adebayo was out with a slightly unique injury this week. Yep, he was kept on the sidelines thanks to a powerful sneeze.
Oh, the game's gone in it. The game's gone.
Yeah, look, listen, getting defeated by hay fever is absolutely nuts. Guessing he strained a muscle here, but I want this man on a drip of antihistamines. The foolish stories don't stop there, though, because we head over to MLS now, where Columbus Crew had to put an outfielder in goal. That's because, well, they ran out of goalkeepers. Two of them, Schulter and Hagen, were away on international duty. Meanwhile, the goalkeeper they started the match with was sent off. They asked for an emergency and didn't get one, so an outfielder had to go in goal for the entire second half, leading to Albert Rusnak scoring a hat-trick against him. Now they're over in South America and in Uruguay and at Peñarol, we've got one getting a little bit too confident here. Just don't play piggy in the middle, we all know how that ends. Now in Colombia, when the fourth official's electronic board isn't working, you gotta think a little bit outside of the box. And outside of the box in this situation means delving into a technology box and grabbing an iPad and just typing out numbers on that. Bro done a substitution in Snapchat form. We won in Chile and it was a big day, or big 24 hours for Huachipato, who played back-to-back home games in different competitions, managing to actually get decent results in them, winning one and drawing the other. Meanwhile, for Georgia, been a great week for them, and honestly, their international team is coming on very strongly. Ways to get fans into stadiums, though, needs a little bit of work, as shown by this Georgian fan just chilling in a tree to watch it instead. Now, though, we make the short journey over to Romania, because it's time for the moment you've all been waiting for. And life has been pretty cutthroat in the Romanian First Division recently, which is crazy, because the season, well, it's only just started. Romania's campaign starts pretty much at the time that everybody else's does, but it's still not stopped 3 Romanian managers losing their jobs in the space of 24 hours. In Australia, Dwight York has managed to win a case against a basically like unlawful dismissal from last year, where he went on a rant in the dressing room calling his side shit and the league shit as well. He's got his money, but don't piss off Australians, Dwight. They'll slap you up. Boiler FC must have pissed off somebody because they got absolutely smacked this week, confirming that they'll be looking to bounce back from a 21-1 defeat. Yeah, you're gonna have to bounce back pretty high, to be honest with you, to come back from that result. Meanwhile, I told you about the story of Columbus Crew playing an outfielder in goal earlier on. We have the same team over at Swindon versus Barrow, where Barrow put Rory Feely in between the sticks, a defender, in a 44th minute, and he managed to keep a clean sheet all the way till the end of the game, where heartbreakingly Swindon Town grabbed themselves an equaliser, but a great effort. In South Africa, and after conceding a penalty, this goalkeeper has lost his head completely, shoulder barging the scorer straight afterwards and getting himself a red card. In Scotland, and Peterhead's admin is missing out on updates for their game so that he can go and watch Scotland versus Portugal, but things aren't quite as enthralling over in Argentina and at River Plate with this fan hitting the hay. Now there is time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football, and by God have I got a story for you this time. Today, we're heading over to Wales. We've got a game between Baglan Dragons and Coimbra Celtic, I don't know, Celtic, where one man has come off the bench and has made an instant impact. He's grabbed himself a goal and an assist in a performance you could almost call illegal. Well, maybe it was, because he then immediately got arrested by the police and taken off the pitch in the 85th minute. They didn't even let him complete the 90, for fuck's sake. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, we start off in Cameroon and we head over to the CAF Confederations Cup, where Fovu Baham had a pretty unusual obstacle to overcome in a game versus Painesville in Liberia. Now, if you think about the Champions League, alright, you can't just play whoever you like. You have to register a team that has certain players and certain rules fulfilled. Well, that's the same pretty much for any continental competition. It's the same in the African region. But Fovu Baham clearly didn't realise that one, as they arrived for their game against Liberian opposition having only registered 8 players in total. That meant they could only field 8 players and had no substitute, so ended up ultimately losing 4-0. Someone do the paperwork at the club, please. And then finally, we head over to Malawi, where disaster and crisis has just about been averted. At the start of the week, a number of players for the national team had their passports lost after they were left behind in a taxi in Mali. Well, it caused a lot of concern, obviously, these internationals wanting to make it home, ideally, after their games in the international break. Well, thankfully, they can now confirm the taxi driver managed to drop them all off at the training ground. These lot are very lucky. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.